Need some big pumpkins? Hello! It is now Monday, the beginning of the week, and if this clip looks super familiar, it's because it looks like the end of my vlog from last week because I just filmed it.
Good morning, Mighty Bod faculty and staff. This is just a reminder, Team 2, you are on duty this week. Team 2, you are on duty. Thank you.
I'm not on duty because I'm on Team 1. Yes. I have the week off of duty. Which I'm so excited. I still got here at like 7:15. Which I think I'm going to do, but I feel more relaxed. And I feel like I can actually leave a couple little things to do in the morning, which is it helps so much with leaving on time. Speaking of, I need to do my boards. I need to preview what we're doing for our lesson. I need to kind of write out in better detail what we are going to do in Eagle time. Although we have a house meeting which takes up like half the time. So that is awesome. I'm gonna get my day started and I will check in with you later. Okay, doors closed. This afternoon went differently than the morning. I'm having this trend this year where I'm realizing that I need to change up my lesson, and so I change it. Thought someone was peeking. I change it before my afternoon classes. So my morning classes, I'm sorry, you don't get the best lesson ever. But what I was trying to do today was to have them create social contracts, and it wasn't working. The kids were not engaged at all. It was not interesting to them, and then the answers they were giving, it was just everything I've been telling them so far. And I'm realizing I don't need to break something that is working super well. So I am going to create a contract just because I need something to refer to later on in the year when kids are having trouble, something that they signed that we studied and looked at. So what I'm going to do is take the couple of class periods input that I have and kind of my thoughts and things I've been teaching and do create contracts that they sign. But I'm not going to make them like, we're not going to go, I mean, it wasn't working, and honestly, the last couple years we were required to do social contracts. Is the only reason why I did that, and I was already leaning towards not doing it because I feel like everybody would do, all my classes would do super well with just me in charge, and then all of a sudden we do social contracts, and that gives them the power, and then it just starts falling apart from there. Really, social contracts should be done within the first couple of days, but how the program we use, Capturing Kids' Hearts, has it, and how we run it out as a school, it doesn't happen until the second or third week of school. So there's that. Other than that, we started our projects. Art 1 is doing Zentangle mandalas. So let me grab my example. I don't have like the best student examples, so I have a couple examples and I just didn't tell the kids that I made them. But honestly, I had some kids make some projects that are better than this. So we're using the idea of a mandala, and I showed the kids a video of the Dalai Lama and a couple dozen Buddhist monks who were making them with sand. And I explained to the kids that this is just the kind of the origin of this idea, of this design. And we kind of talked briefly about what mandalas mean to that religion and culture. And we acknowledge that a mandala, in terms of an art style is really just taken as a circular design with lots of details and patterns and concentric circles. Concentric circles is one of the points I'm making. But we're not sticking strictly to it. As you can tell, this is not a whole thing. And I'm giving the kids the option to make something a little bit more like this as well, where it's kind of shattered looking. So we are drawing a base of, I'm having them draw the work area, 8 inches by 8 inches. I'm trying to find my example. 8 inches by 8 inches, and then they're drawing concentric circles, and they need at least 5 concentric circles. I'm recommending that they have more, but it's up to them. So here's the example that I have. And then they break it up with straight lines, and they can be evenly spread out or not. Their circles can start off to the side. I started this one in the center because I haven't done that yet, so I was curious what I can make that look like. I also asked them to make sure that they fill the space. So for example, with this one, our compasses only do a 6-inch radius. Is that half the diameter? Yeah. They only do 6-inch radius, and so it doesn't quite fill the whole thing, so I encourage them to fill up the background, to do something with it. So we did this, and some people even got to what we're doing tomorrow, which is talking about creating patterns. I will talk to you all about that tomorrow. Art 2 is going to do something called fill the gap drawing, and you have probably seen them online, and it probably does not need to be called fill the gap drawing. I don't remember why I called it that, but they take a source image from a magazine and they figure out some way to alter the meaning of it. For example, one of the pictures we looked at were 2 goats hanging over a fence like, and then the artist put a drawing on top of that of the goats making these really silly faces, and they had glasses and stuff. So doing that kind of thing. And I did this last year, and they did it really fast, so I had them do like 2 or 3. That's what I told them this year too. So we went through that lesson. We looked at some historical collages, and I'm starting with Art 2 to have them do some structure and things of thinking about how to discuss artwork. And so in terms of verbal discussion, I had them start with the phrase, I wonder. And so instead of saying, that's ugly, or what is that, and be like, I wonder why there is a border. I wonder why the colors are weird. The girl actually said the colors are ugly, and I was like, okay, what's a better way to say ugly? So she's like, weird. That works. Things like that. And then we also took one of those images, and I broke down the DAIJ method, describe, analyze, interpret, judge, and I just only had them write 1 sentence per point. We kind of just numbered it. I'm trying to get them to use that throughout the whole year and be more advanced where they can use that, and that triggers like a whole paper. So, like a page or 2. So we will see. Today went really, really well. I need to leave, and I am going to take some work with me and kind of sit in the volleyball games for a while. Hopefully they do well. It's first home games. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, hello there. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, and I have been productive today. I got 2 of my sets of lesson plans for next week done. I just have 1 more, and it has been pretty easy for lesson plans because I am doing things I've done before. So I'm just looking back at Edu4 my lesson plans last year and making tweaks for this year. So that's been pretty good. I'm gonna try and get the last one done this afternoon sometime, which I should have time. Knock on wood. Do I have wood? Wood. Speaking of knocking on wood, that's a silly thing that I've noticed in teacher vlogs. We all knock on wood. Like, you never say something that you really want to be true. Like, you don't jinx yourself. Don't jinx yourself. And honestly, I never ever used to do that until I became a teacher, and I realized that the full moon effect is a real thing. It is a real thing. Okay, besides that tangent, I have been very productive today. I have not gotten to make parent calls, but I think what I'm going to do is focus on that the rest of the week, because I want to, there's so many tasks and things that I am behind on. I would love to, and love as a wish, I would love to get caught up in all grading and have that entered in time for progress reports, because I need to enter the elements, principal cubes, and wheels, and I think there's one other, actually that's the only other assignment that I need to enter for progress reports that go out on Tuesday next week, I think, but all the grades are due Monday morning, so I can get rid of that. So I'm kind of trying to do things in order. Lesson plans are due tomorrow, grades are due on Monday, calls are due on Friday after school, or rather, I guess we do turn in our paperwork next week, but that's got to be done within the first 3 weeks of school. So yeah, I'm doing really good. My kids are doing pretty darn good. Unfortunately, they added a 29th kid to my 3rd period, and behavior-wise was just fine. It was good. I am super thankful that my kids are being extremely respectful. They are showing respect. They are showing it the whole class period, and I only have a couple little kids who just distract themselves. They aren't really that disrespectful. and honestly, they're only like that because those are behaviors I used to allow last year when my classes were smaller and I was not as strict. So other than that, like, they are doing so good. I am so thankful. I would not be able to survive in that class without that. My only thing though is that I have kids in that class where I need to sit with them for 3-5 minutes or even just 2 minutes and help them and guide them and get their brains going, get them going. But I can't because I don't have time. Like, it was just like left and right here. What about this? What about this? I need help with this. How did you do this? And yes, there are even peers at their table to help them, but sometimes they need their teacher. And I am having so much trouble meeting those needs. On top of that, there's like 7 of them. They're technically supposed to be in Art 2 in that class. And I really had to be blunt with them today because they were talkative. And I was like, guys, if you cannot be quiet and focus and do your own work and be responsible. That was another thing. At the end of the class, they were not cleaning up. Everybody else, all my Art 1 kids cleaned up. And they didn't clean up everything and they're trying to leave. And I told them, I was like, that's the last straw. If anything else comes up, you're in Art 1. You're doing the Art 1 stuff. So, I don't know. Hopefully that encourages them. Okay, all of that aside, lessons. Lessons today, just continuation of before. Art 1. Art 1. We are practicing. No, I don't have one. Let me go grab one. We are practicing making zentangles from scratch. And so I am demonstrating for them how to start this, and it's super, super easy. I know as for myself, what I would probably do is look up ideas online and copy those, or like start with those and kind of change it as I go. And I'll let the kids do that later on, but they need to help them understand what a zentangle is and how detailed it really needs to be. So what they do on here is they start with a simple pattern like stripes, polka dots. Start with that and then add to it 3 times. And some options for adding: extra lines, extra shapes, coloring things in, extra patterns. And they add on top of that. They could also start with shapes. And so say they could have a row of circles and then they alter them somehow, so they add to it 3 times. So you could add to it by adding extra circles around it, coloring in to make it a ring, so that's 2 times, and then 3, maybe connecting them with lines. So they're doing that, and that's taking most of them pretty much the whole class period. Some of them are done a little bit early, so I'm having them pull out their template, which is they just have their square, their work area, and then the circles inside of it and the sections. And a lot of them in my first period were choosing to do it in pencil first. And that's something I'm gonna have to talk to them tomorrow about, is starting with pencil versus Sharpie. And I need to make sure I'm pointing out the timeline, because doing pencil and then going over with Sharpie, it just, sometimes the details get lost, but it also takes a lot longer, especially if you're being super careful with your pencil. But yeah, and I have to brag on one of my 6th graders. He's a little, he's a little turd, and he can be a handful and super annoying. And today, he was so good. Oh my gosh. Like, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And, well, not exactly. He just refuses to do his warm-up, and okay. I haven't decided if I'm going to do accountability as in grades for warm-ups, but he did the pattern sheet, and I didn't even really have to correct him. Like, he was really good. And I made sure to be, like, supportive and positive when I was giving him any feedback, if he had questions and things. And he did his work. It was good. He turned it in. Then he got to work on his own stuff. And I did point out, that was one thing, I did have to point out to him, his template that he made yesterday, he didn't use a compass. So I was like, you know what, we should use a compass and make your lines, your circles a lot neater and straighter. He did that. He did that on his own. And I even went and checked on him, and like he's like 1/3 of the way done with his design. But he did it in pencil first. So when he has to trace over with Sharpie, it will be good. So exciting. And then, oh, that's Art 1. Art 2 is working on fill the gap drawings. Today we're going to take a look at Jerry Olsman, and there's a video of testimonial of him explaining his ideas and his work, and then we'll take a look at his work, and I previewed the work and picked ones that don't have nudes in them because his work is gorgeous, but some of it has nudes. So we're going to look at some of those as an idea of a collage and changing the meaning of images by putting things together, and then we will look at a magazine and kind of flip through it and pick a couple of things and discuss and brainstorm as a class how to alter that image. And then I'll explain we need to use construction paper, put it back together, and then they'll just have work time. Art 3 was just working on their portraits. I gave them Sharpies today and just kind of let them work, and a couple people are pretty much done. So that means tomorrow I'm going to need to introduce golden pencil to Art 3. But we are doing really good, and this afternoon we have a meeting which should be until like 4:30, 4:45. It's half faculty meeting, half electives meeting. So, and I'm in charge of that, which reminds me, I need to make some points for that so that we can have a meeting. But yeah, that's exciting. I am having a great day, and I hope it continues so I don't have to stay late today. That would be awesome. Okay, I'm gonna check in with you tomorrow and let you know how things are going. Hello, it is Wednesday, September 13th, and I'm starting to feel overwhelmed again. This week I have been the most on top of things I have been since the school year started, which is awesome. I think I'm about to reach the point where I can just be following my weekly to-do list, which I will definitely do next week, which is great. But I am feeling overwhelmed by one class. I have one class, 30 kids. I had a 30th kid today. When that class hit 28, I told her I physically do not have enough room for these kids. And she still gives me more kids. I think the problem, well, I know the problem with the numbers is that there's 8 teachers who have conference third period. Because this year, they wanted the grade level core teachers to have the same conference period. And somehow it worked out that 7th and 8th grade teachers all have off third period. Stressful. And there's someone walking by, watching me. Yeah, she's gone. Okay. My problem with the class is that I cannot differentiate effectively. Today, thankfully, there were a few students absent, so I had 27 in that class today. But with myself constantly moving, constantly talking to students, I cannot reach everybody. And imagine what that would be like if I had to give instruction half the class period. I had my high needs sped kids in that class that need the guidance to get going. Like, I think there's 4 or 5 of them that were struggling to use a compass. And I showed them how to use compasses 4 days ago on Friday. And I had to show them again today and talk them through it. And they barely got started on their outlines today. And finally they got it done, but they're behind. Now we have like 3 or 4 work days for the project. They've lost all that time. There's no way they can finish, and those kids need extra time anyways. And when I focus on those kids, I have my regular kids pulling me because they're like, because they need their regular guidance. They have the normal questions that I always have. So that's my problem with that class. And I know it sounds like I'm complaining because I know teachers, bless your soul, I know art teachers who have 38, 40 kids in their class or more. I'm feeling your pain. I'm starting to feel your pain. I am super blessed that I am in a small school. And I have never had a class that big. I think the largest class I've ever had was 27, and it didn't stay 27 that long because people moved like a month later. So, yes, I am concerned. I need support and resources because I cannot be this super effective teacher that they want us to be and that I can be for every other class when I have that many kids in the room. Kids are getting left behind. Kids who do really well on their own I barely have time to check in with them. There's one girl, she does super well on her own, and honestly, she makes hundreds. She doesn't really need support, but you need to check in with all their kids. And today, I only had time to go by her desk like twice and say, "It looks good. It looks really beautiful." And that's all I could say. Like, I didn't have time to talk to her or give her one-on-one or anything like that. Like, I cannot be the art teacher that I am for everybody else in that class. So I'm trying to meet with our principal to bring up those concerns. I know the numbers. There's high schoolers outside. Our high schoolers come from down there, and they walk back this way to go to lunch. I know the numbers are going to be hard. My concern is that if I get any more kids in this class, like, yeah, I can fit them in. In fact, I have 2 more stools because I have 32 stools. But the issue is that not everybody's going to be able to face the front. And so that's going to cause behavior problems. Okay. And then they're going to be crammed on tables. What's going to happen when we need to do bigger artwork? And to spread kids out more. Like, it's not good. Like, it's the other problem in that class is that I have 6 or 7 kids that are technically Art 2, and it is not working. A couple of them are doing really good working on their own, but like 5 of them, including one 8th grader who's technically in his 3rd year of art, should probably be Art 3, but he failed Art 1 and Art 2 too many times. Too much. They need guidance, and they can do the Art 2 stuff, but they need a little bit of guidance, and I can't give them guidance. So I need resources to be able to do that, or they're going to be stuck in Art 1, and they're not going to be happy. And especially that 8th grader is going to, if he's starting to cause behavioral problems right now, imagine what it's going to be like when he's stuck in Art 1. And it's like every day this week, he's like, I need to change my schedule, we change my schedule, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, he's one of the ones I kicked out of Art 3. So that's what I'm struggling with mentally right now, and everything else is going well. I'm super blessed, knock on wood, that my kids are behaving. But imagine if this is how stressed I am about that one class, when all of the electives, that's like it is, 3rd period. Imagine we have one teacher. I don't know if I want to say much about her other than, I don't want to give any specifics, but she struggles so much because she's super timid, she's not assertive, the kids run all over her, and she just doesn't do anything about it, and she ends up passing most of them, which, if they're going to run her over, like, you should at least fail them if they're not doing their work. But she's struggling. And I was able to talk to her a little bit, and she told me that part of her problem is the principal wanted her kids to be in groups, to put the tables together in like groups of 4, and that's not working for that class. On top of that, she doesn't have enough desks, which that problem's being solved because we have so many desks that need to be replaced right now. So yeah, that's what's going on today. I thankfully don't have too much work left to do today. My big goal today was to get grades in, which I just have one last easy assignment to grade and then enter everything and print progress reports so I can give them tomorrow and go over that. Then I need to look at lesson plans and meet with the principal about 3rd period. Also, at some point this week, I really need to meet with my mentee, and he's a coach for the high school, so he leaves like right after school, and it is so tough. We need to find a way to communicate because we still have a handful of things to do before the end of September, and it's coming up pretty soon. Well, okay, that's life right now. I need to go and work. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. I did not vlog yesterday because I had so much to do, and I am not feeling that good, if you can kind of hear it in my voice. I think it might just be allergies because the only symptoms I have is congestion and lots of drainage, which is what my body does when I have bad allergies. So I decided this morning to go ahead and update y'all on my way to school so I don't forget and so that you know what's going on. Yesterday went pretty well. So, like I was saying on Wednesday, they removed 2 students from my Art 3 class, so I now have 28 instead of 30, which was great. And what worked out perfectly is that the counselor, and I don't know if this was on purpose, I didn't ask, but it works out so well. One of my 8th grade students this is his 3rd year in art, but he just repeatedly would fail projects over and over again at Art 1 and Art 2. I placed him in Art 2 this year. He's just been complaining because a couple of his kids made it in Art 3. They did the project, they have the skill, they have the respect, and they have the effort. So he's just been complaining and saying he wants to change the schedule, like just saying it over and over again. And he got removed from my class and stuck in PE. We have an extra PE class that's like an elective. It's called outdoor education, where they focus on doing things outside and just kind of playing games and things like that. It's kind of more like your traditional elementary PE class, just a fun, active kind of class, and it's worked really well for a lot of students. So that worked out. Everything is going well in terms of lessons. It was just a work day for everybody. We're just all making progress on our projects and doing well. So I'm going to get myself to school and get some things done before the bell rings. Hopefully I will have some time. So we will see. Well, I'm driving home now. Sorry, no shots of school. I have been totally busy with all sorts of things today. Had my phone calls due, the initial phone call or parent contact. I didn't finish it, so like 25 left, but my allergies are really bad right now. My throat hurts, so it hurt to talk. So I was like, I did 20 of like the 40, something like that. Sorry, road's bumpy. I did maybe 20 of the 40, so I'm just doing the rest on Monday and just call that it. Kids, oh my gosh, the kids are so wild this afternoon. Today is homecoming, and with a small district, everybody goes to like all the high school games and everything, and the homecoming game was today, so this afternoon everybody's getting excited. Everybody was super, super happy, and there wasn't anything that we were doing as teachers to make them excited. They were just like over the top. Like, oh my gosh. My 6th period always has energy, and they're one of my favorite classes because they come in super, super happy, and then when they get there, they are on task, they are respectful, they are awesome. And sometimes at the end, when I'm like, it's time to clean up, they're like, oh, and then they don't clean up until the bell already rings. So yeah, but they did good today, and they earned the reward of being able to choose their seats, and that actually worked out well. I'm always a little worried when I offer that as a reward, but a couple girls earlier this week asked me multiple times on, I think, Monday and Tuesday to move their seats. So I was like, okay, if we have really good behavior the rest of the week, on Friday I will let you sit wherever you want. And it worked, and especially for this one girl, she struggles in like everything. She just is disrespectful and just doesn't really care kind of attitude. And she has been a little bit disrespectful to me, just in the sense of rolling her eyes when I try to redirect her. But since I mentioned, okay, I'll let you choose your seats, like, she has been like on top of things this week. And even yesterday she tried to move her seat, and I was like, you gotta go back to your seat. Remember, we have one more day. I want to see some consistency. I want to see you. I know you can do it. And then tomorrow, you can choose your seat. And she was great. And even today, after she changed her seat, she did her work. It was awesome. And so 6th period did super, super well. 7th period are loud. And there's only like 4 of them that are loud. Everybody else is just quiet, awesome workers. And they just were going so fast with their current project that I scrounged her in conference and got them something to do. I ended up just having them start their next project, but I told them, I was like, we're going to start our next project, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And we have a chance to go to the computer lab and look up source images. So we did. And I let them draw, and the printer wasn't working, so we just sat there, looked at the computer screen, and drew. And they did all right. There were a couple boys in there that just, they're being too silly, and one kept looking up other things than animals. He would purposely look up like ugly animals or animal memes, and I gave him a few warnings. And I even told them before I went, and I was like, if you have problems and I keep warning you, I'm just going to unplug your computer and you're going to sit there with your head down. So that's what I did. He did sit with his head down, but he was fine. He was not disruptive at all the rest of the period. And then I had another kid, I had to do that same thing. Gave him some warnings, and then he was looking at pictures of poop. Which, I will take poop over other things, but that's not what the project was. And I already talked to him multiple times, and he kept talking, and I don't know how many redirections I gave him. So I finally just unplugged his computer, and then he was still disruptive, so I had to move his seat. And he was still like tilting his chair, and I don't know. I had him earlier in the day too, and he was just a crazy day. But overall, that class is doing pretty good, but thankfully on Monday, they're going to have new seats. I had planned for it today, but because we ended up at the computer lab, it didn't matter. And then 8th period did just great. They did their normal thing, but then towards the end of the class, I needed to talk to them about grades, and I decided to write something new, where I call everybody over, and I have this problem as a teacher where I get hyper-focused. I get hyper-focused and I lose my situational awareness depending on what I'm doing. It added to my success early on, in the sense, like organizational success, or at least early on, because I was able to hyper-focus and shut out all the noise. But that kind of messed things up, and I know the kids were getting a little crazy towards the end, and they were just getting loud, and I even told them to turn off their voices for a second, and it just didn't work. So they're going to get new seats on Monday too. They need them anyways, and I think I'm going to offer to them the seat reward as well. I might try it with all my classes except for 3rd period, unfortunately. It's large still. And they even add another student, but for some reason it's still only 28, so I guess one got removed? I don't know, but the student they added, she asked my approval, and it was one of my super awesome independent students, so she's going to do perfect. She'll be fine. And then the last thing is that my allergies have been so bad. I mentioned this morning how I just have been feeling, well, I got through the day pretty well, but I'm doing bad. So I'm going to go rest this weekend, and I'll see y'all on Monday.